Welcome back to the 3-Minute Drill, all the Detroit Lions news you need in under 180 seconds. The Lions began to release the names of players that will not be a part of their initial 53-man roster. All 32 teams need to have their rosters cut down by 4 p.m. on Tuesday. Let's go through some of the highlights of these early names that the Lions released. The Lions will cut ties with both of their third-round draft picks from 2023. Quarterback Hendon Hooker just did not show enough progression over the last several off seasons for them to justify keeping the young mobile quarterback. Be interesting to see who will take a chance on him, as somebody will pick him up. Also, defensive tackle Broderick Martin, the Lions will cut ties with as well. This is sort of the first sign of the Brad Holmes era and some failed draft picks. We know he typically has success. Unfortunately, in these two cases, it did not work out. Another surprising name to hear so early on was offensive tackle Dan Skipper. The veteran has been the longtime sixth offensive lineman for this Lions team. Again, it's important to remember that if he's able to clear waivers, this is a guy that the Lions will probably look to bring back onto the practice squad. But it was interesting to hear them come out so early on in the process and say that they were willing to cut ties with the offensive lineman. It also could speak on their faith in veteran Jamarco Jones or young offensive tackle Giovanni Manu. Let's quickly buzz through the rest of these names. Shout out to the Pride of Detroit website. Make sure to check them out to stay as up to date as possible through 4 p.m. Tuesday when the deadline hits. For the Lions in the running back room, they will cut ties with Jacob Sailors and Deion Jackson. So far in the wide receiver room, Jacoby Keeney-James, Tom Kennedy, and Jackson Meeks. A little bit of a surprise there. Gunnar Oaks, the tight end. Offensive tackle, we talked about Dan Skipper. On the interior of the offensive line, so far only Zach Johnson we've heard word on. Nate Lynn, Mitchell Agude in the defensive edge room. Again, that's a little bit of a surprise there, especially on the Nate Lynn side of things. We'll talk about that in the future. Defensive tackle, Myles Adams, and again, Broderick Martin. Anthony Pittman, the veteran linebacker and special teams ace. Lions will cut ties with there. Again, a little bit of a surprise. I think it speaks to the true depth of this team and the strength of this roster overall. We did know going into this process they would have to cut ties with some talented players because of the situation that they're in. In the cornerback room, Eric Hallett, Nick Whiteside, and Luke Barku, as well as safety Ian Kennelly, the Lions have all come out and said they will cut from the initial 53-man roster. Make sure to check out @JohnnyGazSports for additional updates on the roster and more 3-minute drills.